Target. For decades, it was the only big box retailer where you could spend an extra 20% on laundry detergent just to avoid the fluorescent sadness of a Walmart. It was Target, the retail equivalent of a middle-class status symbol. In 2021, the status symbol reached a peak market capitalization of $129 billion. But fast forward to today, and that value has just evaporated to roughly $47 billion. The check has been replaced by locked up deodorants, messier aisles, and a leadership team currently trying to catch a falling knife. Today, we are following the money to find out if Target is a victim of an uneven economy or if it's a victim of its own success. To understand its downfall, you have to understand how Target won too hard in 2020. Their annual sales jumped more in that single year than they did in the previous 11 years combined. It was during the time of COVID-19. People had nowhere to go, nowhere to travel, but they had some money because of stimulus checks. And people started treating Target like a therapeutic retreat, splurging on cheap chic home decor and designer collaborations. But Target's leadership got a bit too ahead of itself. They assumed that this frenzy was the new normal. They overordered everything: patio furniture, electronics, small appliances. Then the world reopened. People stopped buying air fryers and started buying airplane tickets. The result? A mountain of inventory that had to be liquidated at margin-crushing discount, effectively training the customers to only shop on the clearance rack. Here is the cold, hard arbitrage of class. Target is a want store in a need economy. About 50% of Target sales come from discretionary items, stuff you would like to have, but actually don't really require to survive. Now look at Walmart, for example. Only 40% of their sales are discretionary because they are the nation's largest grocer. When inflation hits 9% and the American consumer becomes increasingly frugal, they don't go to Target for Target vibes. They go to Walmart, Amazon, or Aldi for survival. Data shows that 50% of customers churning from Target head straight to Walmart. Target stuck in the uncomfortable middle, too expensive to be a true discounter, but currently too generic to be a boutique. Then there's the self-inflicted wound. Target built its brand on being the progressive big boss choice, but in early 2025, they kind of panicked a little bit. After backlash over pride merchandise and DEI initiatives, this is one of the core reasons for their downfall. For years, Target didn't just sell clothes, they sold values. They leaned into progressive branding because their core consumer was the suburban, college-educated professional. But when the heat got turned up in 2024, Target panicked. They didn't just scale back their Pride collection, they effectively gutted their DEI programs to appease conservative critics. And here is the mechanical failure. It just did not work. The conservative side didn't suddenly start loving Target. They saw them comfortably on the progressive side and still fundamentally woke. Meanwhile, the progressive base, the people who actually built the Target bit, felt cheated. They saw a company that was happy to take their money when it was easy, but ran for the hills the moment it got too hard. The result? Foot traffic has declined for 7 straight months. To understand why we are talking about the death of Target, we have to look at the red-tinted mountain they built over the last few decades. Target didn't just grow, it defined a class. While Walmart spent 50 years protecting the art of the everyday low price, Target realized that there was a massive pool of consumers who wanted a deal but didn't want to feel toward getting it. This was the birth of Target. By the early 2000s, Target became an economic powerhouse by leveraging the economy of what gets to be defined as cool. Through high-end collaborations with designers like Missoni and Isaac Mizrahi, they sold $20 throw pillows to suburban moms that looked like $500 boutique finds. Target became a suburban sanctuary. It was the only place where the upper middle class felt it was socially acceptable to spend 2 hours discovering items they didn't need while sipping a Starbucks. It wasn't just a store, it was a weekend ritual. At its peak in July 2021, Target looked invincible with a market cap of $129 billion. But that aspirational identity is exactly what made the fall so painful. Target is the king of discretionary spending. You own the economy when people are splurging with stimulus checks. But when inflation eats the middle class for breakfast, Target starts looking like a luxury most can no longer afford. One of the biggest drivers of Target's dwindling quality is actually their digital success. Target uses a stores as hub model, where 96% of online orders are picked directly from the shelves you are trying to shop from. This created a massive internal conflict. In the golden age, Employees were there to help you find a lamp. Now, they are digital pickers glued to handheld devices racing against the clock to fulfill an order for someone in the parking lot. To a shopper, the staff feels like ghosts in an automated warehouse that just happens to have people walking through it. By late 2024, only 20% of sales were digital. While it saves a little bit on shipping, it turns the physical store into a complete chaotic mess and ruins the customer experience. You are effectively competing for the last cereal box with a professional picker who has a deadline and a cart blocking the aisle. While Walmart leaned into massive scale and Costco into membership-driven efficiency, Target tried to stay lean to protect margins. Target's attempt to streamline have led to a visibly thinner workforce. The result? Messier aisles, unorganized departments, and abandoned inventory carts parked in the middle of the floor. Now contrast that with Costco. Because Costco relies on membership fees for the bulk of its profits, they can afford to pay higher wages and maintain a massive motivated staff that keeps the treasure hunt feeling alive. Even Walmart, the old villain of the retail world, has been pumping billions into store of the future remodels that actually prioritize keeping shelves stocked with essentials, the one area where Target is currently failing. Finally, there's the friction factor. Target has increasingly turned to locking up everyday items like deodorants and razors to combat shrink, aka shoplifting. Because of supposedly progressive policies in many cities of not penalizing shoplifting, the problem of theft has gotten so bad that Target decided to limit the self-checkout service to just 10 items. And if all of that wasn't enough, Target also had a supply chain whiplash. Target's original business model was built on a very simple premise: high margin, cheap chick, private labels, sourced almost exclusively from China. In 2017, over 60% of Target's store-level products were made in Chinese factories. Then came the tariffs. The on-again, off-again trade war didn't just annoy Target, it threatened to bankrupt the entire value proposition. Target had to perform a logistical emergency landing. Today, that 60% dependence on China has been slashed to roughly 30%, with plans to cut it to 25% by the end of 2026. Here's the mechanical cost of that shift. Moving a supply chain isn't as simple as changing your Netflix password. It is an astronomical capital expense. Target had to scramble to find substitutes in Vietnam, India, Mexico, often paying a transaction tax in the form of lower quality and higher logistics cost. Target wasn't just fighting for customers, they were fighting for the very right to have a product on the shelf that wasn't priced like a luxury good. Target even tried to avoid the pain, allegedly telling suppliers to pick up half the cost of these tariffs themselves. But you can only squeeze a supplier so hard before they simply stop making hairpins for you. This supply chain instability is why customers now see those empty shelves. It's not just the economy, it's the fact that Target's whole engine was built for a globalized world that doesn't exist anymore. And that's not it. In late 2025, incoming CEO sent a memo that effectively froze the company's heart. He announced the first mass layoff in a decade, 1,800 roles wiped out to simplify decisions. But here's the vibe shift. Management told all US corporate employees to work from home that week. Why? To avoid the optics of thousands of people walking out of headquarters with cardboard boxes, a scene that went viral during their 2015 layoffs. When a company prioritizes optics over ownership, the remaining staff knows exactly where they stand. They aren't team members anymore. They are line items on a spreadsheet waiting for the next simplification. Data from ADP research shows that only 22% of North American workers now feel that they have the skill to advance their careers. At Target, that number is likely even grimmer. But Target is not going down without a fight. In fact, incoming CEO Michael Fiddelke, who officially took the helm of affairs on February 1, is putting $5 billion on the line to prove the bullseye can still hit the mark. Target's biggest pivot is admitting that the stores as hub mode broke the shopping experience. Their new plan is strategic rebalancing. They are designing specific stores as fulfillment hubs, locations with massive backrooms and lower foot traffic that will handle the brown box shipping. Your local high-traffic Target is being liberated. By removing the heavy packing stations from these stores, they are freeing up staff to get off their devices and back to basics, stocking shelves, and actually helping you find the item you need. To combat the ghost employee problem, Target has launched the 10-4 program. It's a mandatory Back to Humanity initiative. If a guest is within 10 feet, employees must make eye contact and smile. Within 4 feet, they must offer verbal help. It sounds simple, but for a workforce that has been treated like warehouse robots for 3 years, it's a massive attempt to restore the suburban sanctuary vibe. And Fidelsky's final pillar is return to the merchandising authority that made the brand a household name. He knows Target's lost its cool factor to the algorithm-driven chaos of Temu and the cold efficiency of Amazon Basics. To fight back, the company is aggressively pivoting towards merchandising authority. And this isn't just about stocking shelves. It is about a total aesthetic overhaul, like Favorite Day and Good and Gather, realizing that boutique groceries are the ultimate food traffic driver. Simultaneously, They're expanding Target Plus, an invite-only digital marketplace to bring in aspirational names like Peloton and Daily Harvest, blending the physical and digital worlds without cluttering the aisles. Underpinning it all is a new AI-powered inventory system designed to predict trends with surgical precision. The goal is to ensure Target never again finds itself sitting on a mountain of outdated inventory, while the cultural zeitgeist has already moved on to the next must-have aesthetic. Target's death has been kind of exaggerated, but its identity crisis is very real. They spent the last 5 years trying to be a tech company that happens to have stores. Now they are trying to be a store again, one that uses tech to stay out of your way. That Taj magic wasn't actually about the products. It was about the feeling that you were winning at life while buying laundry detergent. Whether Michael Fiddelke can reignite that spark, or if Target is destined to become just another player of Walmart, depends on whether they can stop treating their stores like warehouses and start treating them like destinations again. Because in 2026, the American consumer has plenty of places to buy stuff from their couch. They only go to Target for the ritual. And if the ritual is dead, the store is next.